Hey you guys, welcome back to Brownie's Judgment. I'm your host Zuli, and today I'm going to talk about why it's important to dive back into your passions, what that can look like all of that. So, I think the reason why I got the idea for this episode is because today um I had to do like an art project or whatever for work, and it required me, to draw like in front of a board for hours, make poster boards and stuff like that, for hours as well. But it just like really makes me think and feel like I miss drawing, and before I used to, draw here and there. I've been doing it on and off since like middle school, but I kind of stopped like around the time before I started like my bachelor's degree, which was like, almost like a couple years ago or something like that. I can't really remember. Maybe it's been like 2 or 3 years or whatever. But regardless, I kind of just like miss just being in front of like the paper or the board or whatever, and just like diving into it and immersing myself and just zoning out for hours and just listening to music and just forgetting about everything else around me. And it's been a while since I've really had that feeling, much less thought about drawing in general. Honestly, it's something that, obviously I'm not like the best or anything like that. I don't really consider myself to be really good either. But I think it's just how it makes me feel makes it worth going back to, if that makes any sense. Um, and I don't really want to talk about just like my experience, like this entire time or whatever. But I really just do want to like help explain like the feeling, and hopefully it might inspire some of you guys to tap back into things that you really enjoy. I know some people really like sports and um, studying things about like animals and plants and whatever, like everyone has like different things that they like to do. But in a sense, I think I'm just really trying to learn and remember what that is for me, right? Because it's easy, especially like as a college student and having jobs and stuff like that, multiple jobs. It can feel easy to, I don't want to say make excuses, but like not have the time for things that are really enjoyable. And it kind of makes sense because, if you're running around all day, like every day or more days than not, and you schedule a block time to like just sit down and do whatever it is that you're doing that you want to do, I mean, like enjoying wise, hobby wise, um, it can feel difficult to do that, to like switch from fight or flight to relaxation because of, this individual thing. And I just want to preface this and say that obviously it's easier said than done. I know that's something I say a lot on here, but that feeling, even like chasing that feeling, wanting that feeling, it's like worth it, if that makes any sense. But if you don't have like those hobbies or, that thing that you can like dive into, then I can completely understand why, this topic may feel out of reach or confusing or just maybe even unimportant, right? But in a world that's full of fast paced, instant gratification sort of ideologies and ways of thinking, it can be hard to just sit and do something, right? Because it's a lot easier mentally, I think, to like doom scroll. And I can honestly say, since like I stopped doom scrolling voluntarily, not because I had to, um my life has just been so much better. I feel like I understand more about like how I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, my values, what I desire, things like that. Like I feel like things that I would have easily missed before, it's easier for me to see them now because I take away that space in my life to be scrolling all the time. And the reason why I keep diving back into these passions, and also another thing that happened earlier today that I kind of forgot about, that was something I really enjoy as well, is studying and learning about like frogs. And I know this is an interesting animal, yeah, but I guess that's a little unknown fact about me, just to say it on here, is that since I was little, I've really liked frogs. I used to catch them, and I remember one time I know this is kind of going off topic, but I feel like it's important for you guys to get to know me too. I remember um, I grabbed a frog and I had it in my hand, and I told my grandma, I said, "Grandma, put your hands down, close your eyes." And like she was very untrusting of me. She was like, "No, I don't want to. What are you gonna put in my hand?" Like that kind of thing. And I told her, I was like, "No, grandma, it's fine. Like, just trust me, sort of thing." And she was like, "No, I don't want to." And I was like, "Please, grandma." So then finally she gave in. And um I put the frog in her hand and I run out the door. I still remember like it was yesterday. Um she was screaming, and it just like reminds me, and it makes me like laugh. I feel bad obviously now as an adult. That was really like not nice for me to do, but it just like reminds me of like that childlike innocence of diving into something and enjoying it and not caring if other people think it's cool, or if it's valuable, or like anything like that. And I just find and am so fascinated when people like dive into their craft, whatever that is, and just fall in love with them and themselves all over again, because allotting time and enjoying what it is that this individual loves to do is a form of self-love. A friend of mine recently, she actually she's a painter, mostly like landscapes and stuff like that. That's her thing. And I remember like seeing a picture that my friend had shown of like this painting that she had drawn. And I remember thinking like, wow, like she is so talented. Like that is literally so amazing. Like I am so impressed. But in the midst of her like drawing that and everything, she wasn't like responding to like messages or like anything like that. Like she kind of like blocked off everything. And I think that's so cool because she prioritized herself and her mental health and needing to figure out whatever it is that she needed to figure out through this painting, right? And, I myself am no painter. I don't think I ever could be. It's just not my thing. I'm just not good at it. But the fact that she is and that she can is so beautiful to me. And then there's other people who are like freaking geniuses and like build like little things, or like, or they make like these humongous cool like Lego sets and like they sell them or they keep them or whatever. Like my brain does not work like that either. Like I cannot do puzzles. Legos aren't really my thing. Like they hurt my fingers and then I get irritated because I can't get it the right shape. You know what I mean? Like it's just so fascinating that every single one of us have that certain thing. Maybe even childhood is like the best sort of lens to try to figure that out from, like what it could be. It's just so fascinating. I'm just so encapsulated with truly how passions are there. But at the same time, I'm also intrigued as to if we know that they make us feel this way, like, less stress and happier or whatever, like why don't we tap into them more? Like why is it so easy to like just succumb to what everyone else is doing, or watching someone else's life through your phone, instead of living your own? And I'm not saying this from like a place of shame, but like from genuine curiosity. And I just feel like there's so much beauty around us. Like, it's so easy to forget to look at the sky or the moon or the stars and the animals all around us because we're too busy looking down at this device that tells us what we are or are not supposed to enjoy or pay attention to. You know what I mean? And like, I can't help but feel like we're being almost, in a sense, like our brains are being altered to focus more on our phones instead of like what's around us, to like not pay attention, you know, to each other even. I know I'm just like, this episode's kind of like all over the place and stuff like that, but like I said, I just really wanted to just have like a brief discussion about like how important it is to dive back into your passions, and let this be like a reminder, let it be an inspiration, or even like a little nudge in your heart to like tap into that again, whatever that is for you. Anyway, that's all our time that we have here on Brownie's Judgment. I appreciate all of every single second that you decide to stay here with us. As always, have a great rest of your week, and until the next one, bye.